determine what kind of procedure follows next, that the statement become public. That's the second thing. The third thing I want to say is that in relation to perceived threats of the breach of the ruling of this commission, it is important that witnesses understand, and the legal representatives, what the requirements are of the commission and the status of rulings that are given by the commission. So it wasn't in the nature of a threat. It was in order to advise the witness that you now are in breach of the ruling of the commission, and it's important, and a duty, I would add, of the evidence leaders to protect the processes and the integrity of the processes of the commission. So a ruling that says that the statement is to be provided on a certain date is that. It cannot be amended without the chair's reconsideration of the ruling, which would require an application, and there was not such application in that regard. And finally, on the statement, it really wasn't tied to the determination, it wasn't conditional on the outcome of the in-camera application, right? Because the statement is for the purposes of providing evidence to the commission. So I just wanted to make those remarks with regard to the statement, to clarify that. But I've also said what I've had to say about the ruling on the 3rd of March, that this was to be an open session. For me, that's where this preliminary debate would end. And so, and then given that the ship has sailed, we should probably proceed into the merits of the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Hassim. Ms. Prambit, one last. Yes. Any response, Mr. Prambit?
Yes, 3 very brief ones, if I may. In respect of the first point made by my learned friend about her understanding of the directive, with all due respect, it's not her understanding that matters. It's what the Commission makes of the application and the request for the ruling beforehand. And that's why the ruling was made beforehand. The request for the ruling was made beforehand. So my client wouldn't find himself in the exact position he finds himself in at the moment. On the second point, my learned friend in fact actually makes the case for us, because her exact words were, it's the determination of this application that would thereafter determine the disclosure of the main statement. And that's exactly why, not only in the correspondence and in the notice of motion, but in the founding affidavit, before that statement was due, the direct application was made at paginated page 12 of the pleadings bundle, paragraph 27. I humbly request that the Commission determine this matter as one of urgency. This is because my witness statement is due on Friday, the 27th of February, 2026. If a determination is not made about my hearing evidence in camera, and with that regarding the witness statement by this date, then my witness statement will be made available to the general public, defeating the purpose of this application. If that was wrong, they filed the answering affidavit on the 24th of February. They could have made the undertaking or given the clarity on the 24th of February that the statement wouldn't be disclosed.
Why would he have thought, and I think that's the point that Ms. Hassim was making, that his statement would be made public before he testified? Then on what basis does he have that concern to a point where he doesn't abide or comply with the clear directive?
But that's because, as the chairperson foreshadowed, is that my client doesn't have knowledge of the inner workings of the Commission.
It's not about the inner workings. It's about what he has done, and I have to deal with this by way of an example. He has made a claim. He's making a claim for confidentiality, and for in-camera, based on threats he has received, but matters that he says are reported in the public domain. He's made references and he's annexed stuff that is in the media. So he's relied on matter that is in the public domain. I'm asking a question like that there is nothing, he knows nothing about the processes of the Commission, as you rightly say. He doesn't know our internal workings. But again, he has nothing from the public space that is a basis for that concern about his statement being made available to the public. He makes it up. He makes it up, and on the basis of that fear that he's making up, he then says, I'm not going to file my statement until you give a ruling, because it might go into the public when there's absolutely no basis whatsoever, no factual basis for him to raise that kind of concern, and therefore not to abide a ruling that says you must file by a certain date. So it's not an answer to say